The glass trembled in my hand, but not from nerves, from control. That kind of restraint that burns hotter than rage. My father was mid-toast. The chandelier above us glimmered, scattering shards of gold across faces I'd known all my life, faces that once smiled when I entered the room. Now they watched me with the same look they gave the help. "We've decided," my father said, his voice grand and self-satisfied, "to cut you out of the inheritance." He paused to savor it. "You've never deserved it." Laughter followed. My mother's polished hands clapped. My cousin smirked. My uncle raised his glass. It was a family performance, well-rehearsed cruelty masked as tradition. I smiled, took a slow sip, and quietly left. 2 days later, every phone in the family lit up with the same message. Mine stayed silent. But we'll get there. Back then, I was the one they called the problem child. Not because I failed, I never did, but because I questioned. I was too observant, too unwilling to bow to the family's quiet corruption. My father built his empire on intimidation and manipulation. Small companies crushed under the weight of his influence. Assets bought through deception disguised as business. My mother stayed silent, complicit in pearls. And me? I stayed invisible long enough to learn everything. When I was 21, he told me, "Loyalty is currency. You'll never afford it." He was right. I couldn't afford to be loyal, not to them. It started when I noticed discrepancies in the trust documents. I wasn't supposed to see them, but my cousin Michael was sloppy. He left the folder open on his desk, read tabs, signed amendments, my name struck out in neat legal ink. That's when I realized they'd been planning this for months, maybe years. But instead of confronting them, I smiled at family dinners, laughed at their jokes, even played along when my father ridiculed my failed independence. I learned to stay quiet, because silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. The shift came after that night, the dinner, the announcement, the laughter. That was my permission slip. While they toasted to my humiliation, I began pulling threads. I started with the company accounts, not his main firm, but the side ventures he used to move money off the books. I still had access from when I helped with tax filings years ago. He forgot that. I didn't. From there, I followed trails, offshore accounts, shell companies, fake invoices. He thought he was untouchable. He wasn't. Then came the board, old men loyal to his wallet. I started whispering. Quiet truths about audits, missing funds, false contracts. You don't need to shout in that world. A whisper does more damage. My father always taught me power is perception, so I made perception his downfall. The second move was emotional. My mother. She wasn't innocent, but she was predictable. She feared shame more than sin. I sent her a single anonymous email, a series of leaked documents showing my father's secret transfers to his mistress, a woman younger than me. I attached photos, receipts, property records, all real. I knew she'd panic. She always did when her image was threatened. By morning, she had called her lawyer, her sister, and, crucially, the press. Within 24 hours, the whispers turned into headlines. Prominent businessman under investigation for financial misconduct. Family trust under audit. I didn't have to touch a thing after that. The system did the rest. The board called an emergency meeting. His accounts were frozen. His partners withdrew. His allies went silent. And in the middle of all this, my father tried to reach me. First through my mother, then through his lawyer, then finally through a message, "You've made a mistake you can't undo." He was wrong. I'd made a plan I couldn't be traced to. On the second day, the family chat exploded. Michael was accused of leaking documents. My uncle accused my father of theft. My aunt demanded her share be secured. The trust dissolved in chaos. No one trusted anyone anymore. The inheritance? Gone. Frozen pending investigation. And me? I didn't need it. I'd already taken what mattered, their peace. On the third night, I got another call, this time from my father. His voice wasn't thunder anymore. It was gravel. "What did you do?" I let the silence stretch. He hated silence. It made him small. "You taught me well," I said finally. "Loyalty is currency. I just spent mine." Then I hung up. A week later, the house, the one where the dinner happened, was listed for sale. My mother moved in with her sister. My father stayed out of sight, avoiding reporters and lawsuits. And the family? They fractured like glass under heat. They turned on each other, each trying to survive the storm they once used to control me. That's the thing about betrayal. It's contagious. Once it starts, it spreads fast. People ask me if I regret it. I don't, because that dinner wasn't just humiliation, it was a declaration of war. They thought they stripped me of everything. They didn't realize I'd been building something else. Not wealth, but patience. And patience is far more dangerous than power. Last week I went back to that restaurant. Same table, same corner seat, ordered the same drink. The waiter recognized me. "Family dinner again?" he asked. I smiled. "No," I said, "just closure." Now, when I think of that night, the laughter, the applause, my father's smug triumph, I don't feel anger anymore, just quiet satisfaction. Because revenge, when done right, doesn't scream. It whispers. And in that silence, I found peace.